everyone, and welcome to this episode of the ELTcpd podcast. We're so happy to be back with a new series and really excited today to have David Castillo with us, who's in Peru. Hi, David. How are you?
Hello, Billy. Fine, thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
No, thank you for coming on and thank you for your time. So today we're talking a little bit about AI from your perspective in your workplace as an academic coordinator. So perhaps you could tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and your education background as well.
Yeah, well, I've been an English teacher for more than 18 years, and I've been working as an academic coordinator in an institute here in Peru, in a language school that is called Británico. Um, we have more than 40,000 students in different branches, and we have more than 700 teachers. I am the academic coordinator in the studies area. The studies area is in charge of organizing and designing and preparing and selecting the material that we use in our institution. Um, and one of the things that AI has brought up, I think, is the use of artificial intelligence not only for designing materials but also for evaluation. We are also in charge of the evaluation system, and this has brought a lot of concerns among our teachers. We have a lot of teachers, as Billy said, as you said, and they are very worried about how students are using artificial intelligence in order to produce their pieces of writing, and also sometimes even their speaking performance. Sometimes when we have online lessons, we have noticed that they open a window and they start typing and they start reading what the artificial intelligence produces. From the other side, I also teach at a university. This is an English course specialized in sales and marketing, which is part of the program in a master's degree. So in that case, I think that that's different, because in the institute, students are actually want to learn English. They want to learn general English because they want to communicate in English. Well, most of them. We have the other part that only want the certification, and we know, right? Well, here in Latin America, we know that there are times in which students just want to pass the tests because they just want the certifications, because they need it to graduate, etc. But of course, we have a big number of students that do want to learn English to communicate. But as I was saying, that is the part of the language school. Now, in the part of the university, I think that this course, which is inside or which is part of the program in the master's degree, is only to, or well, it is to specialize or to learn more vocabulary or to be familiar with the topics that they are familiar with, but in English.
Yeah.
I think that in that case, it is different, because they want, yes, they want English to communicate or to be able to deal with certain topics, but it is not that they want to pass an international exam, so maybe they are not going to need to write something without looking at the artificial intelligence or without looking at other tools. We have a lot of discussions regarding this with several colleagues.
And just going back a little bit to what you said about your university students, you said that they're specifically studying English for marketing purposes, right?
The course is part of the program
Got it.
to get the master's degree. The course is part of the program to get the master's degree. I think that if English wasn't part of the program, I think they would take they would take the master's degree anyway.
Yeah.
So it is part of the program, so they have to take the course because it is there. Of course, I do my best to make the course engaging and attractive, so that they feel motivated to continue or to study the subject. But it is specialized.
So perhaps with those sort of students, because they are focused on a completely different topic to sort of just ELT itself, perhaps AI could be quite useful to those type of students because they would have to learn to use different AI tools for marketing purposes in their
Exactly.
future, right?
Exactly, and that is something that I'm going to change because we are starting a new cycle at the end of the month, and that is something that I want to change because I have the at university we have like the power to change our evaluation system or to change the methodology, etc. Last time I focused a lot on digital materials, and now I would like to focus on artificial intelligence tools because, of course, in everyday life, if they are going to need to produce an email or an article or an essay in English, I don't think that they are going to try to do it and then they are going to try to go to a dictionary or something like that. They are going to use artificial intelligence. So I think that it would be better to teach them how to use artificial intelligence in the best way so that they can produce good pieces of writing or a good email or a good report or a good translation or whatever they need.
Just for my own situation, probably the same for you, right? Like students write essays or they write reports or they write sort of research papers, but like how realistically do we do that in our own lives? You know, we would use AI ourselves, so we have to expect that students are going to use it as well, really.
Exactly. On the other hand, at, at the language school in which I am an academic coordinator, we do prepare students. Our goal is uh, that our students take the Cambridge certifications or other certifications, and they have to take the exam. And on the day of the exam, they are not going to be able to go to artificial intelligence in order to check their writings. So we need to prepare them for that. So that is like
Yeah.
the discussion there, right? Should we allow them to use artificial intelligence or should we always allow them to use artificial intelligence? Of course, it is real life and it's going to be coming, but I say at least until Cambridge or these big universities that administer these international examinations, um, if that they or if they don't allow them to use artificial intelligence yet, we cannot because
Yeah.
otherwise we wouldn't be preparing them for the test or for the exam.
So I was going to ask you actually just about the difficulties for you in your role as an academic coordinator of AI, but I guess you've sort of touched on that. If you can't really implement too much at your level, if the levels above you haven't implemented anything yet, right? So you can do it at a school level or at a range of school levels. But if the test providers, for example, or the course book providers, for example, haven't implemented those things, it's quite difficult for that to run down the chain, essentially.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh-huh. Yeah. If, as you said, right, if Cambridge or the provider, the exam provider, doesn't allow us or doesn't allow the candidates to use artificial intelligence, well, we cannot because otherwise we wouldn't be preparing them for the real test. And that is another real life situation, right? I know that we always talk about real life situations in which we have to produce essays, we have to produce articles, but there is another real life situation in which students are preparing for an exam. And in that
yeah,
exam, they cannot use artificial intelligence. So
exactly.
I'm not saying that I am against artificial intelligence or that I'm against these tools. On the contrary, I'm really passionate about this, and I'm always taking courses, always reading more about these topics. But we have to be realistic. If we want to prepare our students for the international exam, so we have to follow certain rules.
Yeah, totally. Have you found that there are any other issues for your role specifically, or advantages that AI has brought you as an academic coordinator, perhaps with scheduling, timetabling, things like that? What purposes have you seen it
Actually,
used
yeah,
for?
I think that we teachers we like having the control.
Hmm.
So we like knowing that our students are doing the right thing and that we like knowing that our students are not cheating, for example, and we want to have the control over everything. But that is not possible, and we have to accept that. and we have to accept that students also have to take responsibility for their own
Mm-hmm.
learning. And we have a lot of not fights but discussions regarding this, because some of our teachers say, what do we do, right? What can we identify if our students are using artificial intelligence to produce their pieces of writing? Do we have an artificial intelligence detector, an effective artificial intelligence detector, in order to detect when our students are using these tools, so that I can fail them, so that I can show them that they cheated? And well, first of all, we don't have, right, an 100% reliable tool on these artificial intelligence detectors. We don't have a 100% reliable tool. So that is impossible. So the only thing that we could do is that we have to use our common sense. And that is something that you also mentioned in one of your workshops, Billy. The best AI detector is the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So if we read, or if we encounter a piece of writing that we think was produced by artificial intelligence, we can go and ask the student. That is our policy. We can go and ask the student, okay, I have noticed that this piece of writing is perfect. So you didn't make any mistakes, the organization is good. Uh, did you produce this, or was this produced by artificial intelligence? And we have found, um, surprisingly, that some students actually admit doing this.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, they admit doing this. They say, well, yes, I did this with artificial intelligence. So what the teacher can do there is, well, apply the rules that we have in the institution. However, if that student says that he or she didn't do this with artificial intelligence, the teacher has to say, okay, okay, I'm going to accept that, and I'm
Yeah.
going to mark the writing, well, according to the writing criteria. And we have some tricks there, because artificial intelligence doesn't usually produce a lot of connectors, a lot of linkers. Sometimes, well, as we know, the artificial intelligence needs more, or well, doesn't produce a lot of background, or doesn't produce things based on personal experiences in the way that a human being can do it. So we have
Exactly.
to go there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that is uh, everything we can do, because some of our teachers would like to see us saying, yes, this is the AI detector, use it, and if you find a student who used artificial intelligence, you can fail them. We,
Mm-hmm.
we have teachers who would like to see that, but we cannot do that. And because of all the reasons I have just said, and also because I really believe that students have to take responsibility for their own learning. If they want to pass in that way, well, that is going to be their problem, because in the end, if they want to take the exam, they are going to fail it, and maybe they don't want to take the exam, they only want a certification. Well, go ahead, go with the certification, but then when you go and apply for a job, and you have a CV with an advanced or a B2 level of English, you're not going to be able to cope with the everyday tasks that you're going to
Exactly.
do.
Exactly. Yeah, it has quite long-term effects, doesn't it? Like it might seem an immediate solution to use a text generation tool to write an essay or something, but exactly like you said, it has a knock-on effect in the exam, in their workplace. But also, I think it's important to think of it from the student's perspective. Of course, I don't know what age range of learners you're talking about, but a lot of learners now are sort of an alpha generation, right? So they might have been born in the year 2000 until now. So they've grown up with technologies. They're sort of digital natives. Whereas we're coming at it from a teacher, or I'm going to say in inverted commas, an adult perspective, where perhaps we didn't have internet when we were younger, we didn't have smartphones, and all of this stuff seems like quite overwhelming to us now. Whereas a lot of the students, perhaps it's just another thing for them, and they're not thinking about it as obviously as we are. Would you agree with that to some extent, or do you think it depends on the learner?
Yeah, of course they see it differently, but I think that they have to become aware of the fact that there are some things that they need to do to learn.
Hmm.
For example, it was the same with us, right? In the past, we had to learn mathematics, we had to learn physics, we had to learn a lot of things that we could do maybe in a calculator. And that was something that, for example, at university, I remember the thinking that why do I have to do all these things if I can just grab a calculator and do it? But then, well, our teachers and the people that were in charge of us, they told us, well, there are some things that you need to do in order to train your mind and train your brain and understand how things work. And I think that, as you said, in the long term, we are able to understand that.
Definitely.
Um, yeah, and
Um,
and also from an academic coordinator, um, just to say something positive about this, I think that artificial intelligence has brought us so many possibilities. There are so many things that we can do now. For example, right now I can I'm really into designing materials, and I think that now the possibilities are endless.
mhm.
Now we can produce our own audios, videos, tutorials, uh, tests. Now we can speed up some processes. For example, I think I talked to you about this some months ago. Um, we used to, or well, we are in charge of producing or designing the tests for our institutions. And in the past, we used to design the test, and in order to proofread it, we we called some native speakers in order to proofread the test and to make sure the test was well written. And now that is not necessary anymore, because we can go to artificial intelligence in order to ask the AI tool to proofread the
Mhm.
text and actually also to produce some tasks. And that
Mhm.
is not bad. I think that actually that is something that is going to help us a lot, because now we can produce more tests. We work with versions. For example, we in one month we use one version, in the other month we use another version. So that is something that actually has boosted our work. Um, Now there are several prompts, and we have a lot of teachers that are interested in artificial intelligence, um, that actually work on producing their own prompts to help each other.
Mhm.
So I think that artificial intelligence has also brought a lot of possibilities.
I mean, for me, since I last recorded a podcast, the platform that I use has changed completely. Now it provides transcripts, it can edit the video for me. If we say fillers like and it will take those out of our speech automatically. And I mean, that's happened since November for me. So these things are moving so quickly. So I hope that by the time we release this episode, these things are still relevant and we haven't got robots walking around the place.
Yeah, and the tools are always improving. They are always improving. Now, as you said, we believe that we are experts in one platform, and then we go to the platform 1 week later, and we say and we see new features, right? And
Absolutely.
artificial intelligence features, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what about the willingness of not just teachers, but the whole academic team within institutions, in both of your institutions, university and Britannico? Do you think that there's a willingness to adopt these tools, whether that's in the classroom or whether it's for their own automation?
Yeah, yes, there is willingness. I think that um, we are several academic areas, and we are always looking for new ways of improving our processes and new ways of uh, letting know teachers how to use new tools that we have at our disposal. And right now, as we have so many artificial intelligence tools, we're always organizing webinars, we're always organizing training courses, training sessions. Right now, we have our teacher training area, and they are focusing on these artificial intelligence touches in classroom management, and I
Mm,
think that's really great. I think that, that is going to make a difference, because all our teachers should know something about this. And we were very surprised because we take it for granted that teachers are informed about the latest technologies,
Yeah.
but that is actually not true, not
Mm-hmm.
always. There are some great teachers that still teach in the same way, and that is not a wrong thing. They update their material in their own way,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes they didn't know how to use some of the basic tools that, well, what we know as basic tools like Kahoot or ChatGPT or Copilot. They didn't know how to use that, and I think that our academic areas are doing a great job
Mm-hmm.
in that way, because we are introducing these kind of tools in, well, according to our expertise, right? In our case, in the studies area, we are trying to use artificial intelligence to design materials and to provide teachers with other tips regarding assessment, for example, and also how to deal with these situations in which we encounter artificial intelligence products. We
Mm-hmm.
have another area that is the e-learning area that is always looking for new ways to provide teachers with new tools,
Yeah.
and also our teacher training area that is introducing these AI touches in classroom management, in teaching vocabulary, language, etc. And in general, I we are also from time to time we get invited to these conferences, to these workshops related to artificial intelligence, because it is not only the part about education and about the part about teaching, it's also the part that the management part. So
Mm-hmm.
we have other areas like the systems area, marketing area, logistics area that also attend these meetings and these workshops in order to see what else is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And at university, well, I teach at university like 4 months a year,
Yeah.
but they are also they always organize conferences, they always organize talks regarding artificial intelligence. I think that it is the same as when the internet appeared, right? When the internet appeared, I think that we had like the same thing. Everything was about the internet, everything was about Internet Explorer, etc. And now everything is about artificial intelligence. And maybe in some years' time, there's going to be another tool or another trending topic to talk about. But I think that it is very important to keep up to date.
Absolutely, and I think you're right. Having institutional teacher training like your institution provides is crucial. But even for smaller language schools, if they don't have that capability, then things like you said, conferences or perhaps reading online or YouTube or even podcasts, are very important because especially in this time, it's very important for teachers to keep up with their CPD, because they need to learn about these technologies because they're inevitable and we can't avoid them. Um, and do you think that, um, so in all of your classrooms, do you have technological capabilities in all of your classrooms, or are there certain lessons which are completely book based, let's say, or materials like print materials based?
Um, I would say that we try to introduce technology in all our courses,
Okay.
even if they are online or in-person lessons. Of course, in face-to-face lessons, it is maybe we don't use a lot of technological tools, but I think that we always have a platform, we always have something digital, we always have these interactive activities or these pieces of advice to use technology in the classroom. I think that we are trying to introduce this, and also as part of the course itself. For example, last month I updated some speaking materials and speaking test materials for our upper intermediate courses. And one of the topics that I introduced was artificial intelligence, remote
Hmm.
work, how artificial intelligence is going to make the difference. Um, First, I piloted the material, and it was interesting because one of the teachers said, yes, it was a good topic, but one student was an elderly student, so this person couldn't keep up with the topic very well, right? And it was interesting because it was a different perspective too. So we have to cater for all our students' needs, In the end, I decided to keep the topic. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't remove it because, well, we as teachers, we know who can keep up with a topic, or who cannot. And, well, of course, students and people don't have to know about everything, right? But
Yeah,
now
of course.
this is a trending topic, and at least they can say, well, I don't know much about this, etc. Right? They can um, cope with the subject without knowing a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you manage, because obviously you plan a lot of the materials that the courses use in Britannico. So how do you manage balancing a course book perhaps that students need to follow with the integration of these technologies? How do you balance that? Do you encourage teachers to supplement? Do you provide resources? Like what is the meeting point of those two?
Yes, in that case, teachers are always encouraged to supplement or to adapt some material, right? For example, if we have there is a very interesting activity that one of our teachers did in class that was about a musician, and was about, okay, let's brainstorm ideas about this musician. So it was as simple as, okay, let's go to one of these chatbots, let's go to ChatGPT, or let's go to Copilot, or to Gemini, or whatever, and let's try to and ask the chatbot to pretend to be the singer or the musician, and let's ask questions, right? So
Okay.
things like that, things that like that, because we have a lot of content in the book. So if we have more activities or supplementary materials apart from that, it would be like too much. But we always encourage our teachers to adapt, or to adapt materials, adapt activities with the use of technological tools.
That's really great. So, sort of extending activities, perhaps providing an extra challenge, or just recycling or remediating that language is really nice. Yeah. And also because you can use AI to come up with these activities as well. I think before, when you were supplementing activities, you had to sort of read the course book first and sort of understand your lesson and then create the materials. Whereas now you can create the lesson plan, you can use the course book, and you can create the supplementary materials all with AI. Um,
Actually,
yeah,
the artificial intelligence can come up with the whole plan and with extra
exactly.
ideas.
For me, the worst thing was always lesson planning. So if lesson planning can be made easily in seconds, then that's a bonus. And what about you? Do you think that your role will be affected in any way in the future with the evolution of AI? Or do you think that as long as you sort of keep up to date with it, like you were saying, that it can be managed?
um, Actually, in my role, as if we have as many materials, if we have more materials in the area, it is better.
Hmm.
So if I can have, I don't know, like if I can design, let's say, 5 tests in a month, but if I could design like 20 tests in a month, it would be better. So
Hmm.
I think that on that side, that is going to help, because right now, artificial intelligence, I'm not saying that I'm just going to type, okay, I want these tests, and it's going to produce, and I'm not going to read it. There is a rule that is the 80-20 rule. That
Hmm.
is, let the artificial intelligence do 80% of the work, and you do the other 20% of the work. But of course, there's another part in my job that has to do with the thinking, the planning, the implementation, the negotiation with other areas. So I don't think that is going to be affected in a bad way. On the
Hmm.
contrary, I think that is going to be improved. I think that artificial intelligence, technological tools, and all these things are allowing us to produce more materials, are allowing us to design more things, and maybe it is a bit different, but also it allows us to learn more, because now we have these online courses. I know that not everybody is into online courses, but in the past, if you wanted to take a course, you had to travel, or you had to go to another place, or you had to attend in-person lessons. And I do believe, and I actually like um, face-to-face lessons more than online lessons, But on the other hand, I do know that online lessons are more practical, and if you focus and if you are really interested in the topic that you are going to learn, you are going to take advantage of this. So that is another thing, right? That is also related to technology, but I think that we can learn more in that way. And now we have these courses that it is not that they don't need a tutor, but you can go. It is asynchronous, so you can go and you can. If you really commit yourself, I think that you can learn a lot.
Yeah.
And that is something that I always have to do as an academic coordinator. I have to learn the new tools. I have to find out new ways of material of how to develop materials, how to design materials, and I think that this technology and that this new way of learning has helped me a lot.
That's wonderful. I really wish that things were face to face so I could sit in the room with you and interview you on a podcast. But as you said, it's much more accessible, it's easier, and there's so much out there now that you can really dedicate time to studying online. And I know that was something that changed during COVID, but actually, yeah, you're right. If you do have the asynchronous option, then it's perfect. Um, well, thank you so much for your time. It's absolutely flown by. I can't believe we've been speaking for more than half an hour already. Thank you so much for your time. And it's been wonderful speaking to you. And I'm excited to see where AI takes your role as academic coordinator and the schools in the future as
Yeah,
well.
maybe we can speak again in 2 or 3 months, and let's see where we are.
Exactly. Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
thank you.
So, thanks so much to everyone for listening to this episode of the ELTcpd podcast. Don't forget to head over to our YouTube channel at ELTcpd and subscribe for other episodes in this series and previous series as well. And you can catch up with all of our exciting courses that are being released and other episodes and videos on our YouTube channel by following us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook at ELTcpd. Thanks so much. And thanks to David for his time today. And we'll see you again for the next episode.